Hello everybody and welcome back to Quest 64. In the last video we made it into our next dungeon, which is the Boil Hole, and we will hopefully be able to explore this place in its entirety in this video. It's really not a long dungeon, which is very fortunate because I actually found myself very bored with this place while I was going through it. I think the main reason for that is just because I kind of got spoiled when I went to Dindum Dries. It was a wide open environment. It wasn't really that linear. There was a lot to look for. Shamwood had a lot of really cool treasures. It wasn't full of monsters. Again, it was kind of free roam with a bunch of really cool free stuff. And again, now that we're in Boil Hole, we're getting back into the very linear type dungeons with lots of hallways, lots of monsters, and not a whole lot of anything else. This dungeon also doesn't have a lot of collectibles. It only has a handful of chests, and I think at this point there's only one enemy we haven't run into yet. Not a whole lot to really talk about here, guys. Hopefully my commentary doesn't completely fall apart, but I will try my best to go on through this area. And depending on how many monster encounters I run into, this could be very good and very smooth, or this could be very bad. And this place is practically impossible to get lost in unless you get turned around by your compass. It's not crazy and complicated and kind of challenging like Blue Cave is. You don't really have to pay attention in this place. The only thing you have to pay attention to is your compass, of course. Again, a lot of tunnels, and I can't actually think of any area in this dungeon, which makes it a little bit unique, where there's a safe area. Every single room in this dungeon and every single area that you go through, you have the potential of being attacked by a monster. So keep that in mind. Fortunately, by this point, you should probably have a lot of stockpiled items, especially if you have one of your elements maxed out. You should be pretty powerful at this point and able to kind of take on the enemies. Now that I have wind maxed out, everything is just really easy, especially because these monsters are fire. I don't even think I'm gonna be too concerned with the boss battle that's coming up, but we'll see how I do. Here's one of the new enemy types. This is the Flamed Mane. It's a lion with a spiky flame mane, so that's cool, I guess. Not very menacing, but at least they tried to be, you know, a little bit creative with it. I choose to use Wind, of course, Wind Cutter or Large Cutter. He's a fire user, has both long range fire magic and short range, and they both do about 30 damage apiece. And depending on your HP and your MP and how much you've grinded, that probably won't be a problem for you. I didn't even have to do that much grinding when I got into this area. I did a little bit of a practice run. I went through the dungeon to make sure I could collect everything, and then I restarted back at the place where I just started the video and did a little bit of grinding, but I wasn't finding that it was really getting me anywhere. I wasn't really getting any sort of stat increases or anything like that, so I decided that I'm probably good for this area. And I'm gonna save my grinding for the next area we come to, because I'm actually really excited to get to where we're going at the end of this tunnel, because it's probably one of the more darker, spookier places, and it is quite challenging. And that's probably mainly because we're getting dangerously close to getting to the end of this game, which is also really nice. Not because the game is bad or anything, or I'm not having fun, but sometimes it's nice to have a Let's Play on your channel that you can kind of just take your time with, but finish in a sweet and short amount of time as well, so you can move on to new things. So far I've been having a lot of fun with the project, and throughout the entire thing I've been getting a lot of really good feedback and hints and help from you guys, which has been really, really nice. So hopefully those of you who have been watching can kind of see it through to the end. Although the ending of the game doesn't really make things make any more sense. It's kind of a goofy ending, but I enjoy it in a way just because it is so goofy for a game such as this. There's one more enemy we need to run into. My mistake, there was 2 new enemy designs. And the last one that we run into, I don't think we're able to see in these tunnel areas. I think it only appears in those wide open spaces. So in this area, we're just going to be seeing all the generic ones, the nightmares, the Rockies, all those types of enemies. And then in the wide open spaces, you'll get those lions and the new type. There's nothing to collect in these tunnels. There's no alternate paths or anything, so just keep following the straight linear path. The dragon's potion we picked up was the first treasure, believe it or not. This place feels awfully barren, but I guess that's because it's a volcano, which makes more sense if you try to make it sound more logical, but with a lot of video games, I don't try to make things logical because it will give me a brain aneurysm. And eventually this tunnel will end at one point or another so we can start picking up some more stuff and hopefully make things look a little more exciting. And it would be really, really nice if this game had some sort of feature, and I don't know if it did when it came out on the N64, but it would have been really nice if the people that developed this game had some sort of system, almost like a free roam system where you could turn off enemy encounters. I can't even imagine how much faster this game would go by if you could just turn off enemy encounters. For an area like this where I really don't feel the need to fight any of these enemies because they're not really gonna do anything for me in terms of leveling, it would just be really sweet to turn off enemy encounters, walk through this area, be able to do my own thing in peace. It would make the video go a lot faster, and it would make your progress go a whole lot faster if you were just playing normally, not commentating or doing a video or whatever. And it would be kind of cool just to take in the environment, walk around, take your time, without having the constant stress and also annoyance of monsters constantly being at your tail. But now that we're at the end of the tunnel, we're kind of like squeezed in the middle of the earth. It's kind of funny. It's like we're in a little sandwich. The magma's underneath and the cool magma's kind of like on the top. I don't even know how far down to the earth we're going, but wherever we're going must be seriously down into like the deepest bowels of the earth. So here's our second chest, sitting out in the open. Luckily, because these chests are so bright and the environment is so dark, they're actually really easy to see from a distance. And it's the same with the spirits as well. If you're having troubles finding them, which I don't feel like anybody would, just because there's so few treasures to find, that when you see one, you'll automatically know where it is. So there is a spirit coming up. And looky here, here is the last enemy of this area. This is the Red Wyvern. And at one point in the game, we trembled in fear and ran the other direction when we saw a wyvern coming, but now that's not a problem thanks to Avalanche. If you have a really well-placed Avalanche spell, wyverns can be taken out even in one turn. It'll probably take a couple of turns for me, knowing my luck, but just because my earth element is so powerful, that really was no problem for me. And that is probably the toughest monster in this entire area, so with Avalanche it really defeats any sort of difficulty that this place may have had, or at least in my opinion. If you're having troubles with this area, I don't mean to belittle you in any way. It really depends on what element you went for and how much time you spent grinding in the game. It's kind of nice because the playing experience is quite tailored to your own personal preferences. We've only got one more spirit to go until we've maxed out rock, which is probably going to be my next goal. And after this last tunnel, we'll actually be coming out to our boss. So it only took 3 extremely long tunnels, but we will finally get down to where we need to be. And a whole bunch of enemy encounters as well, of course. So don't forget to pick these ones up before you go, because they can be really easy to miss if you're just staring right at the tunnel and making it your next destination. Although, to be fair, those treasures aren't incredibly important. I would take the Dragon's Potion and the Healing Potion if you can find them, just because they may become useful if you have troubles with this next boss battle, or if you're in this cave and you get stuck or turned around, or, you know, whatever emergency kind of circumstance that happens, you've got emergency rations, which is really nice. But replicas aren't really that important. I don't think I've used one yet in this playthrough. And giant shoes are replaced by one of my wind spells, which gives me more movement range. And at this point, again, not a whole lot to say. We're getting to the very end though. So this is just the last leg of Boil Hole, guys, so just hang tight. I will most likely save the boss battle for next video, just because I think that I'm gonna put all of the super exciting, jammed-packed action into next time. Because after we defeat the boss, we'll be getting to the new area, which, like I said, I really enjoy. And then we'll be getting into the more challenging final parts of the game. I didn't mention this before, but it also doesn't make sense why there's butterflies in a volcano. Just saying. Although, a lot of things don't make sense. And they don't have to, they're a video game. That's the joy and the greatness of it all. And I'm actually getting pretty lucky with enemy encounters. I mean, sure, there are a lot of them, but I think that this probably could have gone a lot worse. I could be in this cave for 20 minutes, depending on how many seconds the enemies decide to give me in between enemy encounters. Of course, I don't want to jinx it, because we are almost at the end. But that's just how this game goes. It's just a game of luck and random encounters. But my escape route is never far. And neither are the enemies. Okay, I jinxed it. Now they're coming in every 2 or 3 seconds. They sense that I'm near the end. They know it, and they don't want me to get there. They are so determined to kill me before the boss does. They want to show their overlord leader who's controlling them that they're made of something. Or something, I don't know. I guess that enemies would act on their own. Would act on their own accord. Or maybe monsters do have payrolls, and they're paid by some great overlord to do their bidding. But not today, monsters, not today. We've made it out to this nice open area with smoking volcanoes for dramatic effect, and in the distance there is our boss for the dungeon, who, like I said, we are going to fight in the next video. So look forward to the fiery showdown in the next video, everybody. I hope you'll be joining me then. Thank you for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.